Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is G. You're watching Astrology. And this week we're talking about your week of October 6th and the following 7 days. Could be a very big week. It's right up there with the eclipse weeks. There's a lot happening and it's a lot of powerful stuff in the chart. It's a full moon in Aries on October 6th. So, with that said, we're going to talk about Mercury and Mars and Pluto and what do they have in common this week? What are they doing at the same table? And what are they talking about? They're all sitting there with their cup of coffee or their shot of bourbon or, the ones drinking, who knows, a soft drink. I don't know who's drinking what. I just know they're all at the same table and they are discussing some serious stuff. So we'll talk about that. The other thing is Pandora and Venus are also going to be having a conversation at a different table. However, whatever Venus talks about, Mercury knows about. And whatever Mercury talks about, Venus knows about. First things first, we're going to back up the chart a little bit and talk about some of the major things that are going to be part of this story for this week. And so that will include Jupiter. Jupiter stays at 23 degrees this entire week. The shock and the surprise, the disruptive degree, the holy crap, what? It is technology. But keep in mind, it's with Jupiter. And so benefic Jupiter, benevolent Jupiter, it's all about the future, but it's also about my beliefs about the future, my spirituality and religion. Jupiter is also judges. It's also judges. So with Jupiter in Cancer, there's a lot that has to do with the past and the present and the future. It is that higher level of intellect, intuition, the combination coming together and giving us insight into what went on in the past, what we're experiencing now, and how the hell that's going to look in our future. And we somehow become a little bit wiser with this Jupiter in Cancer because Cancer is the sign of the public, the people. 23 degrees is also disruptions. It can be shocks and surprises. And I'm kind of pulling for a shock and surprise. I'm praying and hoping and pulling for with judges. Venus starts at 21 and you see Pandora is right there at 26 degrees. Venus moves faster than Pandora, so they catch up. And they're going to get to 29 degrees by the end of the week, conjunct. And remember, what the hell does Pandora mean? Pandora is you opened up this can of worms. You opened up this box that just unleashed all the evils of the world type of thing. And the idea is that you unleashed the most undesirable stuff and all that's left is hope, right? So with the Virgo energy, we think, yeah, healthcare, but maybe the health of some individuals who are well known because 29 degrees is that billionaire degree. They actually become conjunct like at 28 degrees, and then they both click to the 29 degree point. So that's at the end of the week. All right. So really by like Wednesday, Venus gets to 25, 26, and Pandora's like at 28. So you might hear some things before the weekend, and it could be judgments and judges, but celebrities and politicians because we got Jupiter and surprises. Jupiter, public figures, Jupiter, politicians, but like people who are the boss, like presidents and stuff like that, right? People who, yeah, just feel like they're untouchable and omnipotent and are just, yeah, putting on a good show type of thing. Jupiter can be kind of dramatic as the ancient ruler of Pisces energy. So we got Jupiter flaring here with a little bit of pink this week after 23 degrees in Cancer. And The Cancer energy is the emotions of the public as well. Saturn, we're discussing Saturn. To start off the week, it's at 27, so this is news. Public figures, news, information, rules, institutional energy. The retrograde means that Saturn creates restrictions. So this is restrictions placed on institutional energy, right? It's Saturn. Saturn says, but these are the regulations. These are the rules. There is something about this chart that has me hopeful. So, with that said, it goes from 27 to 26. Now, this matters because that's a Venus degree. That's money. That's finances. That's desires, right? And when we think about the money, when we think about money and finances, and we think about long term goals, Saturn, corporations, but the structure and order of the institutions. A retrograding Saturn is going back to talk about whatever it was that was done. You follow? And now it can go both ways. It can press harder. It can say, okay, maybe we didn't clean things up enough. Maybe we need to find more waste. It's a possibility with a retrograding Saturn because it's, we think corporations and it says, oh, but we're going to run this like a business. Yeah. The difference is whose business? Are we talking the Oracle of Omaha, or are we talking dude who doesn't pay anybody and who gets off and skates free and has zero accountability and stiffs people left and right and has filed how many bankruptcies and has how many felony counts and is convicted? You see where I'm going, right? There's a huge difference in what sort of a business model and business person are we trying to emulate here? We're going to tie this together because when it comes to Friday and Saturday, like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we're seeing common themes, common days popping up with significant planetary movements. So here's one of them, Saturn. The other one, the North and the South node. You see, that's the South node in Virgo. There's that North node in Pisces. So the North Node in Pisces switches on Friday from 18 to 17. 17 is Leo energy. It's Leo energy, but it's also authority figure energy. It's the sun that rules that. So there can be some switch ups happening and some changes. And that is what I'm being super optimistic on. Now, Leo energy is also a lot about having a good time and taking a risk and doing shit for fun because, well, it's just fun. Jupiter in Cancer has a promise, and that promise is benevolent energy. It can provide protection. It can provide things to suddenly be better, for there to be some good. Jupiter in Cancer is exalted, so it can help the public because it's Cancer energy. We think of homes, housing, family, women, right? We think of our emotions and our emotional security with Cancer energy. And so with Jupiter there, it can give us hope. This is Zoe. I don't know if you can see her, if you heard her, but can be very hopeful and optimistic because it's thinking about the future and it's saying, please, there's got to be a change. This has to be better because it's just looking not so great, right? So the Jupiter energy at 23 degrees this week is a promise of possibly those disruptions and an authority figure possibly creating those disruptions and making changes. Pluto at 122, intense power, right? The oligarchs, but it's also the power of the people. But pay attention to the minutes when you talk about the slow planets, especially the slowest. 122, that's a thing. 22 minutes is a thing. Pluto stays at 1 degrees and 22 minutes this whole week while all this other stuff that I pointed out is going on. Intense communications. We're getting down to the nitty gritty, and somebody is executing their power here. Somebody who probably has power over somebody else who is in a position of power. That's likely what's going on. This Pluto is going to stop retrograding at 122 on Monday, and it goes direct. So I do feel like something major happens this week, and likely because of the whole chart and where the other objects are at the end of the week, I feel like that's more of a very key moment, a very key moment. I also have to add this little piece about the 29 degrees of Virgo, which happens at the end of the week. Remember, 29 degrees, we've got Venus and we've got Pandora. There is a person of power where this 29 degrees of Virgo is a big deal in their chart. And I mention it because it's an eclipse point. Pandora's box, this may be definitely the health of somebody, and things definitely may take a turn. Like the tides of the ocean, the highs and the lows. And it typically speaks to it being negative because it says, this too shall pass. So maybe it's not a permanent thing, right? But it's an eclipse point. And we've got Pandora's box and Venus there. So all we can do is wait and see, but there might be a health thing with this individual. It's in their second house of values and money and desires, and we think love.